Is this the time to buy or sell Algorand / the US dollar? First off, read this disclaimer carefully. And do your good deed of today by liking and subscribing. So here is Algorand, US dollar, ALGO / USD is the ticker. And the previous time I looked at it was the 15th of August, 2021. Then the 100 daily moving average was a really big deal. So here is Algorand's website. We are the world's most decentralized, scalable, and secure blockchain infrastructure. Well, that is a pretty strong claim. So yeah, let's look at the charts. So this is big picture weekly data points. So the reason why I think that this crypto it's interesting. It's because let me draw it in. We have something that looks very much like a potential major double bottom. That is a bullish technical pattern if it plays out. So that is like the primary thing really happening now. If we zoom in a bit here, well, maybe it's more clear on the dailies, now weeklies. So the 5-week moving average in light blue is a resistance level, but it's a very short-term moving average, even though it's here on the weeklies. Well, I guess it really is about your time horizon. Anyway, here on the daily data points, we do see that the purple 20-day moving average, it was a pretty solid resistance level now for some time. A magnificent level for the bears to short this crypto. But something that recently happened is that we reclaimed that moving average. So the bulls have been above the 20-day now for 2 days. Not like an extremely impressive run, but it's interesting. It shows us that the bears are relaxing a bit. RSI got oversold-ish here. That is interesting. Looking at the daily data points. So we can see that accumulation distribution is corroborating the breakout above the 20-day moving average. That is bullish. RSI, it is not yet at the level where it's like high risk that we will see a pullback, but we are approaching at that level. You see here back in May, RSI got a bit higher before a pullback. So in my notes, I write the following. So 20 daily moving average breakout, plus it's on, volume. So I give the technicals a 3 here, and long term, we do have a double bottom in play. So here is the seasonality data. So to the right, we simply do not have enough data to calculate the averages. To the left, we do have 3-ish years of data, 3 full-ish years. What we do see is that June is the weakest month. We are towards the end of June, but July is not exactly bullish either. It only closes higher 33% of the time, with an average 1.6% loss. But August is, on the other hand, a more clearly bullish month. I give the bears -4 here, simply because the current month is weak and the next month is weak. August is strong, but that is still, quite off into the future. I don't think there are fundamentals when it comes to cryptos, so let's jump to relative performance. Here are long-term correlations, but we don't have enough data to do the math. Short-term, we do see that there is an 89% positive correlation with the S&P 500. That is very strong. Interestingly, it actually is a bit weaker with Bitcoin, only 87%. So that is a kind of a weird finding. Then you have a 27% with gold and -87-ish% with the dollar index. So the strongest correlation we do get is, quite interestingly, with the S&P 500. So the S&P 500, it is a stock market index, and as such, it is higher risk, so to speak, at least. So yeah, Algorand and the S&P are both risk-on instruments. The thing about the S&P is that we have seen a significant sell-off. We did go down here to this low end of RSI that also formed this low here. But as we can see during, after this sell-off here, we got like one strong week, then a bit of a save attempt, but then the major sell-off. So there is certainly some concern in the market when it comes to the current rally, because this is a bullish candlestick, also a strong candlestick, but it was followed by more weakness. So let's look a bit here at the daily data points. So if you look at this previous fail, RSI was able to get a bit higher before the fail. So yeah, S&P is just very messy. But investors definitely have reason to be a bit skittish due to what happened, late May. This is the relationship between Algorand and the S&P 500. So we do see that double bottomish pattern here as well. We are emerging from a low level on RSI, looking at daily data points. So we do see that based on prior periods of outperformance, Algorand has been able to go higher in terms of RSI. So we are not yet at levels where it's like, oh, we will go down. When it comes to relative performance, then I think I will give the bulls a 2 here. So we end up with a 0.3 here in favor of the bulls. So the data is slightly more bullish than bearish, but it is definitively very messy because of the very weak seasonality. And what is happening with the S&P 500? Because as we saw, not that far back, we had that strong week that was followed by substantial more downside. So yeah, I like to keep my videos around, 15, 16-ish minutes. So we have time to look at some other stuff. So let's look at some, higher beta, stocks. That sort of is, the similar psychology, investor psychology to Algorand. So here is NEO. We've seen, some pretty, nice outperformance here from some of these stocks that were just absolutely massacred. So there is definitively some sign of rotation, but I do not necessarily think that it means that the outperformance from like NEO and RK, oops, that was a bit too much K, that this means that, there's massive like risk on. Given how far ARK has gone down, it's seen a massive repricing. I mean, the underlying stocks have, while the Nasdaq, as an example, hasn't seen the same yet. So that's something to just take into account. But definitively, we are seeing some very interesting rotations. So let's, well, we might as well look at Bitcoin. So let's look at the index. The big problem is that we lost the 200-week moving average in red. So it was, well, let's use the right color. So the thing is that, it was such a big deal back here. It was a critical level here as well. To go down below it like we just did it, from a technical perspective, it is really not pretty. Because it is very likely going to offer resistance. If we go here to the daily data points, yeah, we have reclaimed some of these shorter term moving averages. So let's see how oversold we got here. So we got like a historically very rare reading for Bitcoin that is just very hard to like guess. You can't, because guessing a statistically low probability event is just not a good strategy. You just have to sort of like rather try to capture the higher probability events. But yeah, Bitcoin, it got super oversold though. So really caught a lot of people by surprise, and you can see how vicious this candlestick was. Just a massive, just super bearish candlestick. If Bitcoin had landed at the 200-week moving average, then I would feel more comfortable, going like really like bullish on Bitcoin. But I really do not like that we broke below it, because the only way we broke below it, that's because there were, we just did not have enough buyers at that level, and that was an important level. And it was definitively a level where one would expect the whales to have massive buy orders, because those buy orders could have easily swallowed up all of this selling, but that didn't happen. So I really do not like it when really big deal levels fail. But yeah, that happened with Bitcoin. Let's look at Ethereum. So with Ethereum, we do have the 200-week. It certainly does have, some strong history here as well. You can look back in 2020 as resistance, and then it became support. And with Ethereum here, we are trying to get above it. So I like that. If we are able to reclaim it this quickly, then that is, at least it is better than what we saw with Bitcoin. So let's look at Voyager Digital. This stock really went down big. I mean, it's really is amazing to see this kind of selling pressure. And it really makes you think about the market in a deeper sense, because the financial markets are here, for companies to, raise money. So Voyager Digital, they had a super easy time raising money. People were super bullish. Assuming, one would have to guess that this was based on facts. People looked at, the fundamentals, the technicals, so on and so forth. But then people completely changed their opinion. So all of those, bullish theses went out the window. That sounds ridiculous. It makes a lot of sense to assume that the truth must be somewhere in the middle. Somewhere around here-ish must be the truth. If that is the case, it means that there must be upside for this stock. Okay, obviously we need to deep dive a lot more to, really, go bullish on Voyager Digital. But I think it's something to just consider when you see any kind of chart that has done something just crazy. And this move up and the move down, it almost makes a mockery of financial markets, because this is not really supposed to happen. By the way, I would recommend that you follow me on Twitter, because I publish a bunch of very good takes there going forward. So let's look at some stocks. Let's go to like the classical, financial markets. So Goldman Sachs. Massive rounding top pattern. Also see this bounce here. You could make some case that this looks somewhat double bottom-ish, like that, potentially. Definitively being repriced. Looking at the dailies. The purple 20-day moving average, it is not like an extremely good level for the bears, but it is better for the bears than the bulls. And we met clear resistance here from that 20-day moving average. Back to the cryptos, let's look at Coinbase Global. We are seeing some sign here of bottom-ish behavior. So let's go to the daily data points. It looks interesting. So the key level here that I think you can see yourself is this purple 20-day moving average. It is a very good level for the bears, and we are still below it. So it is just a level where the bears come back to short. And that is because they can have their stop level even a bit above it. So if you look at this, so let's say that the bear shorted that moving average. Here, the position would only go like 6-ish% against the bear, and then they would be back to making money. So getting above the 20-day and then pushing a bit, that would be the thing that really would shake out the bears. And when they have to close their positions, then that adds buying pressure. So that's definitively an event to put on your radar. Okay, so we have looked at a bunch of different things now. Interesting times in the market, but very precarious. Difficult to really tell whether we have a bounce, longer term low, or maybe a temporary low. It's very, very undecided.